Hi, I'm here to do my recorded I.O. just to make confirmation that this is what on my screen is my outline and not any script that I've written beforehand. So yeah. Today I'm going to talk about the Diet by Duffy and then a Women's World magazine cover to kind of compare and contrast and then kind of like take the idea from both of them. So the Diet from Duffy shows the common struggle that a lot of young women my age and younger can feel about the struggle of wanting to be healthy, on wanting to be just be skinny and just wanting to feel wanted, and with that comes hard body image with body image issues. However, Women's World kind of takes the counter of that by talking about showing us the tactics that the media uses to kind of push those ideas onto young women like me with big bold letters, only lose 10 pounds quickly, Dr. Oz type stuff. So especially when they're pulling in doctors on some of their magazine covers, it seems like it's more professional and more believable. So with the Diet, specifically in lines 8, 9, and 16 through 19, is what I want to be talking about. Duffy has stated before that she is a woman who struggled with body issues and struggled with an eating disorder and anorexia, and so with the Diet she can kind of relate to that issue. And then Women's World is really it's kind of a get rich quick scheme, but not in a rich money sort of way, but in the get healthy way. So they're giving you those like unhealthy diet things like don't eat any carbs, ketos, diets like that. In kind of a worldly context of this is that Women's World magazine came out at the similar time of Obama getting elected, which may not seem completely relevant, but if we take into context Michelle Obama having the Healthier American movement, having a magazine company try to profit onto that can really help a company grow. So with the Diet, we see after reading the poem that even though you're skinny and you look better in the eyes of yourself, you've turned into something that's 10 times unhealthier and than anything you've ever come before. And we see these through lines 5 through 7. We can specifically see with a metaphor, one day the width of a stick, she started to grow smaller, child size, doll size, the height of a thimble. So with this, the width of a stick, we know like how like the width of a stick, it's like maybe that like becoming so skinny that it's like physically unable for her to like just become anything. And then, smaller, child-sized, doll-sized. And I think that's kind of, when we kind of put that into a worldly context, the reason why a lot of young women want to be skinny is so that they can be seen as more childlike to society. And that can come with lots of body issues, like not only just weight, but also body hair and stuff like that. And then the height of a thimble, like really talking about how like tiny she is and how small she's becoming. And then we would talk about Women's World. It's the height, the boom of the in the early 2000s, the height and the boom of women's like talk shows like The View, Ellen, and we have like those doctor advice shows like Dr. Oz and all of those things. And I'm not saying that Dr. Oz is bad, I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying that Women's World is using those medias and using that influence to kind of help grow its image, to kind of to show that women can be skinny and, be happy. We also see in the Women's World magazine that we're looking at, in the teaser in the right hand corner, having a small picture of a woman saying, look like a star. which kind of wants you to draw into that magazine, wants you to kind of flip it over and be like, oh wow, what can I do to become a star? What can I do to really become something that I want to feel? And it makes us think that we can't be happy unless we are looking like, for example, Kim Kardashian. That's the only celebrity I know. So it's kind of just making us think that as women, we can't be happy unless we are pretty. So, you really want to open this magazine and because you want to look like a star. And in the diet, our speaker, lines 8 and 9, describing how the young woman distance herself from everybody else so that she can become skinny. So lines 8 and 9, just give me one. She starved on, stayed in, stared in the mirror, delivered and slimmer, talking about how she doesn't want to eat. She's staying in, she's isolating herself, even though she's doing this not only for herself, but from what I think in the context of this poem, not only for herself but for other people that she's doing this for. And it's ironic because she's doing all of these things to become skinny, become healthy, and she's ashamed. She just wants to stay in because she feels like she's becoming a monster, as we see through the end of the poem. And that speaker that we kind of see is someone who's looking on the outside in, looking at how unhealthy this is. And Women's World, I feel like the title itself kind of tells the viewer that to be a woman, to be in a woman's world is to follow these directions, specifically with the cover that we're looking with, fat, tired, you need to do these things to be a woman, to be in a woman's world. So I feel like having the title Woman's World just kind of makes it so people are more likely, people who are drawn to this are more likely to, listen to it. And then with the diet, I'd like to connect it to another one of Duffy's poems, The Healthy Meal, which talks about vegan and vegetarianism and how, when you eat meat, you're turning into, it's like you are what you eat. And I feel like when we take that you are what you eat into the context of the diet, she's literally turning into nothing because she's not eating anything. She's starving herself. So she's slowly again with lines 5 and 7, she's small, she's shrinking, she's turning into a doll, because she's not eating anything, and so she's shrinking. And then Women's World is just, it's a huge corporate organization. It's been around for since the early 2000s. It's very much made a name for itself. And it uses those bright colors to draw in others people's using pathos specifically to get women to kind of feel terrible about their bodies, and not knowing how to not knowing really how to feel about themselves. And really this kind of just draws back to drawing back into seeing both sides of the spectrum, how the media is pushing these things onto us with Women's World, and then how the diet is showing us how these actually affect women. And then I have some questions here. Explain how one of your interacts makes a global issue feel personal to the reader. So obviously with this global issue, we're talking about eating disorders, and it's been reported that 75% of the American population has struggled with eating disorders. So I feel like when, so that's like every 3 out of 4 women in a room have struggled with an eating disorder. And with Women's World being a $15 million company, with 22% of it being food and 16% about it being healthy and healthy lifestyles, it's really contributing to it. And also picking a device that you analyze from one of your interacts, what could annotate effects be of it? I think that the speaker in the diet could be seen as Duffy talking about her past experiences, talking about how she went through that and kind of remembering how it was, because she wants to talk about it in the third person, because due to the fact that she refuses to believe that that's something that she went through, refuses to believe that that was her own body, her own experience, and she's just not wanting to relive that. And how does the choice of the text type for one of your interacts help the author to connect with their audience and achieve their purpose? And so magazine's whole thing is big drama titles, big, I was actually at the supermarket today with my dad, and he was just like, 6 divorces, who wins, who loses, and, you know, he's automatically drawn to, like, those big titles, those, like, oh, if I need to know who's winning and who's losing, or I need to know how to get these get skinny fast tricks, and, it's all of those drama alerts that catch the eyes of millions. And with women's world, it's really having to using those tactics to push media perspective of keeping women skinny and young. Thank you. That is my presentation of my recorded IO.